Hi everyone, welcome back. Everything you are seeing right now works perfectly. My front end is running, my backend is connected, and the database is storing all that with data without any issues. But there is one big problem. Nobody else can use it or see it because everything is running on only on my computer. If I send this localhost link to my friend, it simply won't work. Their computer has no idea what the localhost 5173 or localhost 62628 means. That's when I realized building the application works only half on the journey. The next challenge was making it available for the real user. So in this video, I am going to deeply my entire full stack applications from the React frontend to the ASP.NET Core backend and SQL Server database. Along the way, I will also share some common mistakes I ran into so you can avoid them in your own projects. Chapter 1: Why deployment matters. Before we jump into deployment, let's answer one simple question. What's the point of building a great application if nobody can actually use it? When we build projects, they usually run on our own computer. That's perfect while we are deploying and testing future. But once the project finished, we need to way for the anyone anywhere to open the application from their browser. That's exactly what the deployment does. What we are deploying: front-end React and front-end React and backend is a ASP.NET Core, and front-end and backend middle REST API we will use, and SQL Server database I will use. Before deploying anything, let's quickly look at the architecture of the project. The front end is built with the React and TypeScript. It is responsible for everything users see and interact with them. Whenever user login in place bit or view ocean details, the front end sends the request to the backend through REST API. The backend builds with the ASP.NET Core. This is where all the business logics happen: handling requests, validating bits, managing user, and communicating with the database. Finally, all the application's data is stored in SQL Server, including user and options, bits, and categories. The localhost problem. Open right now my React application running on 5173 localhost and my ASP.NET Core running on 62628, and my SQL Server database is also installed locally on this computer. Everything communicates back perfectly because they are running on the same machine. But here is the problem: the word localhost it really means this computer, not your computer, not your friend's computer, only mine. So even though the application works perfectly here, nobody else in the world can access it. Deployment by browser, version, and ASP.NET Azure SQL Server. Instead of deploying everything at once, I am going to the deploying each part separately. First I deploy frontend, so React using version, and next I deploy ASP.NET Core API for the Azure App Service, and I use database Azure SQL database. Deploying the frontend. Okay, we will move deploying the front end React. You have idea about this is our front end. So this is git node. We create a git node which has some of files. We define files not push into our GitHub. So we uh, push our project into our GitHub, and we connect that GitHub to our Vercel software. This generate optimized version that's ready to post online. Another important change is updating my environment variable. Okay, environment variable. This is most important part. This is connect to this environmental variable I use to the local uh, backend, like local host 62628. That's API I connected, but I deploy I deploy to the backend into the Azure App Series, I change this URL. After how I deploying, we create them. We go to the Vercel, Vercel.com, and create your username and password and login and create an account. After that, we click that and new project, click new project, and I connect the my repository, and I have idea, sorry, I connect my repository. So you can also click connect to a repository and click that and import file. You can import that file and go to deployment. Okay, I uh, show you like this, import and deploy. So not only tension that import when we previously push into the GitHub, so I connect to that GitHub account to the personal account, and that import that project and deploy. When you click deploy, that's also automatically deployed and create a domain for our we we can see that in our this is I created project, so you can see that. So this is my created account. So this is runs my front ends also run in auction pilot versa.app. This domain, everyone can see my project in anywhere or any device or anywhere and see my website. So this is a front end. We move on to the deploy the ASP.NET Core API. Next comes backend. Unlike the front end, the API also need configuration for the production. That include the connection string environment variable, and color setting, so the front end can communicate with it securely. Once everything is configured correctly, I publish the API to cloud hosting services. Okay, this is our backend ASP.NET Core deploy. You can create a, you can search the app series at your account, go to your account and Azure app series. So you can create a new web or web plus web app or database. So you can create a web app you can go to web app and create a web app. So my subscription is Azure for the students subscription. I use this now. So you can create the easily your web app. So now this is my web app. Wait a minute. Let's go to the backend. Yeah, this is my web app I created, and you can choose the nearest the save, and we will move finally we use the database Azure App Database, like there's database while deploying, I use the local SQL Server instance, but once the application goes live, the backend needs to connect the database that's also available online. That means updating the connection strings so the API point to the production database instance of one running my computer. Of course, deployment wasn't a simple clicking a button, and I run into the few problem along the way. At one point, colors backend request between the front end and backend, then accidentally use the wrong API. I also had HTTP configuration issues, incorrect connection strings, missing environment variable, and even authentication problems. Each issues bit investigated, but solving them throw me lot about how the production application actually work. Our web app service we use, you can monitor this monitor section. I will explain the next video, and you can get access controller. Yeah, wait a minute, let's load. Most important things, we will define the JWT, all JWT issues and JWT key, JWT authentication when the ASP.NET Core Web API used. So we will define in setting an environment variable. We define that and save. That's most important. And we get this API point management. So you can see overview status is running. That is the most important. We will check in our like a backend is running or not. The status is running. So I will show you our SQL database in Azure. This is the Azure SQL database. We use the Azure SQL database for them. Our so you can create new SQL database. So this is used for the SQL database creation. Now this times I use this is a database SQL. So this is our SQL database. Uh, yeah, wait a minute. This is also our SQL database in Azure. Oh, you change in your backend ASP.NET Core like a Visual Studio. You will change you like a this place uh, uh, application settings.json application setting.json file. You want to change. I will show you this this file you want to change. This is used to local db ms sql db. You want to change this into the this connection strings. When you are create the Azure SQL database, you can get the connection string from this and change this your ASP.NET Core Web API. So you connect to the your backend with the SQL database, so like a SQL database. So you change it, and another things, your front end env also change to the Azure App Service backend. So you can see, I will show you how backend running on hosted like a deployment, and I will show you local host before I will show you. Uh, yeah, before I show you, and I now onwards I show. Okay, now I will. Okay, now I will show you this this URL. You can see this is a hosted Azure App Service URL. You can see that URL anywhere, any device. So our backend is fully deployed in a cloud host like Azure App Service, and this is also runs HTTP localhost 626 to 8. So one thing this project taught me is one thing this project taught me is that writing code is only half of the job. The real challenge is making your application reliable, secure, and accessible to the real user. Deployment is a step that transforms a coding project into the real product. If you are building your own full stack application, don't stop once it works on localhost. Take the extra steps, deploy it, and let people actually use your build. Thank you for watching, and I will show you next video monitoring system, and I will upload some videos during I deployment my project into the project deployment. I faced issues. Some of videos I made that in the upload that in my channel. Subscribe and like my video. Thank you.